In over 20 countries around the world, people woke up this morning to the smell of burnt down Western embassies and schools, residue tear gas in the air, sights of Western countries' flags torn down and replaced with black Islamic banners, streets littered with overturned cars, trash cans, and debris, and a feeling of palpable tension following a bloody Friday protest across Islamic countries in Khartoum, Sudan, Tunisia, Sanaa, Yemen, Tripoli, Lebanon, and Cairo, Egypt. The funerals of people killed yesterday will be observed. The fear of further unrest has the world on the edge like no other time since September 11, 2001. It is 13:46 GMT time in London, 8:45 a.m. in New York, 1:46 p.m. in Nigeria. Wherever in the world you may be, today is Saturday, September 15, 2012. Welcome to this special edition of Sahara TV. My name is Fungai Maboreke. Yesterday at Andrews Air Force Base, President Barack Obama and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton held a ceremony for Ambassador Chris Stevens and 3 other Americans killed on Tuesday in Benghazi, Libya. During the event, Obama said that America would protect its diplomatic relations abroad, but halfway around the world, army tanks and riot police confronted thousands of protesters who left Friday prayers and marched from mosques to the streets across the Muslim world. Leaders of Western countries spent Friday sending messages to Muslims appealing for an end to violence that has targeted their embassies and other interests in Muslim countries. The United States has sent in Marines to defend its embassies in Libya and Yemen. The protest started in Egypt on September 11 over the film called Innocence of Muslims. The film, which is made in the US with clips posted on YouTube, is said to have depicted Prophet Muhammad as a womanizer and a leader of a group of bloodthirsty men. The protest quickly spread to Libya, where a group attacked the US consulate in Benghazi, killing 4 Americans and the American ambassador. Yesterday, demonstrators had asked for, I beg your pardon. Yesterday, demonstrated in Egypt attacked an army base holding multinational peacekeepers in Sanaa. In Afghanistan, the Taliban attacked the camp Bastion NATO, killing 2 U.S. Marines. Leaders of Islamic groups under pressure from the West to do more. Thousands of angry protesters to protect diplomatic missions and staff. Secretary Hillary Clinton has condemned the film and said that the U.S. had nothing to do with its making. She has defended the First Amendment right to free speech. We have just received news that the filmmaker has been arrested for pending violations and a probation mishap. Anyway, Nigeria police and soldiers have used live ammunition to disperse protesters in the troubled city of Jos, in Plateau State. Youths, some of whom were wearing white t-shirts that read "To hell with America, to hell with Israel," gathered for Friday's prayers. In Sokoto, demonstrators burned down a U.S. library. The Nigerian government has deployed heavy security around U.S. diplomatic missions. As a precautionary measure, the U.S. was also in the U.S. Embassy, also in Nigeria, have temporarily closed their doors. Our hot topic today will interview Imam Konate, who is an immigrant from Ivory Coast, and he's also the head of the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Harlem. Imam Konate will explain to our viewers how a film made in California could cause such havoc across the world. Some of the questions Konate would answer for us are there universal values? If no, how could they be created? How could it be enforced without tampering on several individual countries? Where does the world go from here? This week, the Chinese Special Envoy to Africa, Zhang Jianhua, announced that South Sudan could resume pumping oil in November. China has been at the forefront in that effort to resolve the conflict between Sudan and the newly created South Sudan that had halted about 3 million barrels a day of oil production. Beijing is also working hard to get 2 countries to sign agreements that would allow the free flow of oil that China needs. That is an example of China's growing influence in Africa. Atim Annette Otton, who is a Nigerian-born award-winning writer and architectural designer, visionary thinker and entrepreneur, will be here in our studios to help break down Chinese influence in Africa. She wrote a contributing article on that topic in the Huffington Post this week. Nigeria's former Minister of Interior and owner of Integrated Oil and Limited, Captain Emmanuel Ehianacho, was yesterday arrested over his involvement in the hijack of a vessel empty laden with suspected stolen products. In our roundtable, we'll discuss the ongoing violence in the Muslim world, the Ehianacho arrest, the influence of China in Africa, with Professor Pius Adesami and Mr. Chris Anidobe, who's a professor. Adesami is the author of You're Not a Country, Africa. He teaches English language and literature at Carleton University in Ottawa, Canada. Mr. Anidobe is a political commentator, also a DC-based intellectual property attorney, a managing partner for Dobie Law Group, and the author of Do Not Let Us Die. As usual, we will take your Skype calls to this and other issues concerning Nigeria and Africa. Our question of the day is, would you die for your religion? Join us when we take your calls on these topics. We will also read some of your Facebook and Twitter comments on this question. In our highlight segment, we're going to discuss the performance of our Paralympics athletes and their shabby reception after winning 13 medals in London. Olusola Ogundola, a Nigerian media analyst and disability rights crusader, will put it in context. Also, former staff reporter and now editor of the National Accord, Olajide Fashikan, will give us a historic perspective and what is being done to rectify things. New York-based rapper Mr. Flint will be our guest during our Inspire Hour. We shall reveal the man behind the music. As expected, we'll bring to you our regulars, Keeping It Real with Adiola and Dr. Damage's show. In a first episode of Keeping It Real, Adiola will explain why the government stopped our triumphant Paralympics. She gives you hints on how to avoid airlines that collect offerings and reveals to you African first ladies that are missing in action. Meanwhile, in the 57th episode, Dr. Damages explains the real reason behind the feud between the central bank governor, Mr. Lamido Sanusi, and former President Olusegun Obasanjo. In searching for an answer to why President Obama invited Bola Tinubu to Charlotte, he reveals the content of the FBI files on Bola Tinubu. Damages also updates you on the prophets and messiahs in the U.S. presidential elections. You don't want to miss our regulars. Please stay tuned with us for more fun and information. Follow us on Twitter at SaharaTV1 with the hashtag SaharaTV, and we are on Facebook for SaharaTV. We will be right back. We leave you now with the video of the protest against the anti-Islamic film across the world. Stay tuned.